Good morning guys, today we have Hyundai Elantra and we're going to put 150 MP. I got my orange over there. And also want to run a Sirius XM antenna. Alright, let's go and start the day.
Alright, so check this out. It's an actual cassette player that's in this bad boy. And there's a cassette stuck inside of it. I mean, we're over here talking about CDs. Yeah, nuts, get it? This guy has a cassette player in there. Personal favorites are the 8-tracks though. Love me some 8-tracks. That's the excitement in installing a 150 MP in a Hyundai Elantra. You thrilled?
Yeah.
That was good.
Orange.
Hope you guys got that joke. All right, as always, on to the next one. Hopefully better. Can't pick these things. All right, so next on the list, isn't it much better? We have another one of these. If you guys have seen me do one of these before, it's the FM modulated aux jack. There is a difference between a modulator and a transmitter. Transmitter, just put it close to the radio and it works wirelessly and it sounds terrible. A modulator actually interrupts the FM signal. Actually sounds really good. I mean, as good as FM can sound. But we're gonna go ahead and put it in this here Toyota. So let's get this dash apart. Put this bad boy in. All right, so the first thing you have to do on these guys is just pry this off here. Pull it out. Go ahead and unplug it. And then there's 4 10mm bolts, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. We're also gonna remove the cup holder for right now because we're gonna mount our aux jack down here in the bottom panel. Just lift it out. Set the radio aside for right now. Put a little Velcro on the back of it so that we can stick it behind the unit here. You have the male and female antenna adapters. Go ahead and pull those in. Tuck that one back up in there. All right, so now we have a power, we have a ground. There's this nice big brace back here that we can use for ground. So we can go ahead and just grab a ring terminal. Now we need to figure out in the Toyota harness which one of these wires are accessory. On the Toyota, it has 2 harnesses. This is the standard 1761, which if you've been watching the show, we talk about an awful lot. Go ahead and take your digital multimeter and set it to volts DC, which is the line with the dashes beneath it. You're gonna wanna put your black probe to ground. And then on these, you wanna start with the smaller wires. Well, we found constant 12 volts. We don't want that. Go ahead and turn the key on. We'll go to one that isn't metering something. So we found with the key on another 12 volts. Go ahead and turn the key off. All right, so that's ignition. That's gonna be this tan wire, tannish brown wire here. So we're gonna go ahead and tap into that. We're gonna do a tuck and wrap, which is where you poke a hole into the wire, thread it like a needle. Just wrap it around like 5 to 6 times and you have a nice connection. Put a little tape on it. You can solder it if you like, that's up to you. Now we're gonna go ahead and put 2 zip ties on it. One is to make sure that the tape never falls off. The other one is just to add some strength to the wire. Then we'll go ahead and tape up the rest of this red wire so it doesn't get snagged in the dash. All right, now we can go ahead and plug the radio in and see if she works. All right, so turn the dial to 87.9. Flick the switch. Should get no sound. All right. And then flick it again. back to regular FM. So, FM. So this thing actually works, like we said, really well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this screwed back in, buttoned up, and out of here. All right, guys, this one's done. You know the deal. On to the next one. You know, so if you do want to do an aux, this is a very viable alternative. And just in case, I didn't mention it, it's an IS31 from iSimple, which is, you know, the same guys, Pack Audio. They do make a Bluetooth version of it, which is a little bit more, and you don't have to do any of the switch or aux jack, obviously, because it's Bluetooth. It's just accessory, ground, plug in, and you're done. And it works just as well. There's an app you control it from on your phone, so you can pick any station you want. So if you're into these, you need this form of connection, which I doubt, but if you have a friend that needs one, check them out. They're pretty cool. As I said before, on to the next one. Next up on the list, what do we have, Fernando?
A Toyota Corolla.
That's right, and we're going to add a backup camera to the existing factory radio. I know what you're saying. Oh, that sounds like fun. It might be. It's actually not that bad on these. I wish every manufacturer did it like this, because this would make our lives a lot easier. All you need to make it work is a simple T-harness. Really inexpensive. What we have today is the Cam TY12. Now, what this will do is this will plug into the back T-harness. So what this is going to do is plug into the back of the radio. If there's an existing harness in there, you can plug into that. It's not going to give you an accessory to power the aftermarket camera, and you cannot use the reverse trigger to power the camera. The camera has to be on and powered up before you put the car in reverse. It kind of uses like a signal sensor over the RCA, and the instructions clearly states, do not use the reverse trigger to power camera. Won't work. Some radios have the reverse trigger built into it already, some don't. Comes with real helpful instructions right here. Who reads those? We're gonna walk you through it. Let's get the radio out of the dash, shall we? All right, so one thing I wanted to show you in this car that's kind of funny, and this always makes me laugh. What the heck is this for? It's like an industrial size garbage bag. I mean, it would be great if all the garbage that was in the car was in that bag, but this is like dead body size bag, right? It's like a body bag. This thing is huge. Yeah, it's kind of sketchy. Clean out the cars, people. Clean them out. So go ahead and remove the air conditioning trim first, and then this will pop out, and then go ahead and remove the airbag switch out of the unit. Then remove the 4 10mm bolts. All right, so it's gonna be this harness right here. Right now, this has a 6-volt output. Our camera won't work off 6 volt. We need 12 volts. We're not gonna use either one of these. We're gonna actually just cap them both off, and we're gonna go ahead and use the bar back there for our ground. And then just like the FM modulator we just put in, we're gonna go ahead and tap our 12 volt accessory right here on the radio. Yeah, go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay.
Look at that.
Go ahead and thread the needle, wrap it around. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some connectors to them so that we can make our camera plug in. And these will just go into here like this, and we'll connect the camera to that. Now the other thing we wanna do is go ahead and cap these off, because we don't want these to touch anything. This isn't going to be used either, so we're just going to zip tie these up here into the harness. The reason why it has this male RCA on it is if you have an existing camera and you wanted to add a multi-camera switching system, you could use this to do it. All right, so now we have a power and ground. We have our camera. We're going to grab our camera. We're going to hook it up here in the front real quick just to make sure it works. Go ahead and turn it on. Start it up. Foot on the brake. Boom. So this radio is going to have the reverse lead connected to it, so we don't have to run a second one. As you can see, it's all looking, there we go. Hey, look, it's Fernando. All right, so now that we know it works, we're going to go ahead and pull this back out and run the wires through the car. So let's get going. All right, so here's what the backup camera looks like. This little guy right up here. Now I know you're gonna ask, which camera is it? It's the EchoMaster CAM LP1. Now the one nice thing about this camera is it'll go behind your license plate, so if you have a vanity plate around there like he does, you can still use this camera and keep it. All right, so we have it all put back together. Go ahead and throw it in reverse. All right, there you go. So if you've got a Toyota with a touchscreen, a newer one that is, and you'd like to add a backup camera to it, it may be this easy. Pretty cool, huh? All right, on to the next one. No kidding. All right, so what we have here is a Ford Explorer. There's this amp in it that we didn't install, but it isn't working. So they brought it by to have us check it out. So let's check it out. All right, so what we have is a little JL guy here, power, ground, remote turn on, digital multimeter. If you're gonna check anything, you need a digital multimeter. We're gonna go ahead and set it to DC, which is the V with the straight line with dashes underneath it. Let's go ahead and check this amp and see what's going on. So to start, we're gonna go ahead and put our black probe on ground, red probe on power, and look, we're getting 6 volts. Let's go ahead and check the remote, and we're getting close to the same thing. All right, so now at this point, what we want to do is figure out if we have a power issue or a ground issue. Since we're already here in the back of the car, we're gonna go ahead and put our red probe on power. We're gonna ground our black probe on something else. All right, so that's showing that we're getting 12.5 volts there, and we're getting 11 volts there. Now let's go ahead and go to continuity, see what we got going. So we have no continuity on our ground. This leads me to believe that somewhere there's a bad ground point. So let's go ahead and see if we can trace this ground to where its origin is and see how it's grounded. All right, so here we go. We have a crappy ground. Yeah, it's a big bolt, but the ground is actually sitting on this piece of plastic, and this plastic is sitting on this carpet. So this isn't actually touching the car anywhere. So you need to go ahead and get this off and reground the amp. We went ahead and regrounded it. Now we have 12.4 at the amp. Go ahead and turn it up. Let's see if we have sound. All right, we got sound. All right, guys, so the moral to the story is just because you see a really big bolt, don't assume that it's a really good ground, especially, you know, some of the times they actually rivet these bolts into the floor. And so now you have metal, you have a rivet, you have a bolt, it's not actually making a good contact. So go ahead and always file the paint away, put in your own bolt, put in your own nut, put in anything. Just don't use seat bolts, don't use plastic bolts. Make your own ground. That's the only way to be 100% sure. Or if there is a factory ground point, meaning there's other wires in the car going to that point, use that one. That's always a really safe bet that that's a good ground point if the car manufacturer is using it. Sometimes, most times, I'll give you that. Sometimes it does suck. I'm gonna sneeze. That's done, that's good. We'll get this out of here. Get back to it, on to the next one.